These are 3 quotes or 4 quotes of films that's very important. The one first, a story should have a beginning, a middle, and the end, but not necessarily in that order. And I love that because this is Godard. So when you watch a Godard, you're going to see, he might be confusing sometimes because he's going to move the things and all these things from, like you make a film, he's going to make it in a different ways. He's going to create maybe something like, what am I doing there? What's going on? But he's telling you something in a different ways. The cinema is 24 frames per second. Cinema is what it is. He believes in cinema is reality, at the same time being filmed. And another thing that I really love is the art attracts us only by what it reveals of our most secret self. So it's like when you watch a film, it brings you back something, and with this you do something. And with this you understand, like any kind of art form. So great artist, extremely, very great intellectual too. So The Mépris, the film that you are watching today, is based from a book from Alberto Moravia, who is a very important writer, Italian actor, writer, who wrote this very well-known book in 1954. So he takes the book, which is like a very linear book. The book is telling you the story, and he transforms the book, still following the stories. You're going to have the same thing happen, but in a different ways a little bit. Big thing about this film is Brigitte Bardot. When you talk about Mépris, you talk about Brigitte Bardot. And there is some naked scenes, you know, where like it's like Le Mépris is like Brigitte Bardot naked, you know, it's what it became, you know, more or less. The producer wanted the first frame to be Brigitte Bardot naked. But Godard didn't want to do that. This is not about her being naked, you know. But the first person who was supposed to be taking for this film was Kim Novak. He wanted to have Kim Novak and Frank Sinatra. This was what his idea was, because it's kind of, you're going to see there is an American producer, there is this idea of Hollywood film, so he wanted to do that, but they didn't go, so he took Brigitte Bardot as the main actress, and Michel Piccoli, who is another very famous actor of the time, who made a lot of films. You're going to have the apparition of Hollywood, because it's about Hollywood filmmaking, with 2 people, Jack Palance, that you all know from somewhere, obviously, who plays a Hollywood producer, very obnoxious and horrible and whatever you want. And on the other side, you have Fritz Lang. Fritz Lang, he represents what cinema is. Fritz Lang is like the master of the director, and he spent a lot of time in the US before he died. So you're going to have all these things. You're going to have relationship. You're going to have statement about Hollywood, about cinema, about filmmaking, and about life in general. First large budget for Godard. Godard was never used to large budget because the French New Wave was 1 camera, 1 sound guy, and we shoot. This is a big budget. It's a big budget, and it's shot in CinemaScope. So big colors. You're going to see in this film, and he never liked colors, Godard. Godard would say colors is like, for the people who want to be entertained, I don't like colors, but in this he will use CinemaScope with really bright colors. So things of, it's shot in Italy, it's shot in Rome, and in Capri. I mean, you're going to have the most beautiful cinematography on this film. I don't know what to say about it, because the cinematographer is one of the most important cinematographers. His name is Raoul Coutard. Raoul Coutard is, for this type of cinema, the man who changed cinema, the look of cinema, the way of making cinema. Georges Delerue is the music. The music is extraordinary because Godard will take a music which should not go on the frame of the film and making it. And you're going to see, you're going to have mix of things. You're going to feel that it's so great, but in the same way, you're going to say, why is this not going with it? Kind of like putting it into, especially if you are not used to Godard, but he brings you into his own world, you know. So Georges Delerue is like one of the great musicians who did a lot of work. And the editor, even if Godard works with editing people, he has a special editor there. Film shot with Fritz Lang as a director, Jack Palance, and you have on the back the story of Homer of the Odyssey, and it's set in Rome. So you have a lot of elements, and in a beautiful, very extraordinary, great aesthetic. The aesthetic of Godard is another thing was really. One thing before we start the film, the cinematic language is what we think is the most important in a film. How is somebody telling you a story? Actually, I was talking to my daughter before I started, and we were talking about a film, and they say, oh, they have everything to make a good film. It looks like it's good, but it's not. So that's cinematic language. Cinematic language is like you take elements, but they have to be together and carry and touches you and do something. And sometimes you have everything and it doesn't work because it's a language. The language how you put things together. And Godard has a very specific cinematic language. And just to talk about film, when you have a filmmaker who is really well known for the way of making film, he is the only one who makes this kind of film. Nobody can make a film like him. And again, it could be Fellini, it could be Visconti, it could be Pasolini, it could be Fritz Lang, it could be Godard. Great filmmakers are great artists, and when they show you something, they show you with their own language. Nobody can copy them. Maybe they can copy them, but nobody can bring that. So you have something which is really strong. And in this language, composition is important, the color on this too, and how he puts all these elements. Dialogue, voice, images. Sometimes they are getting you into kind of a poetic ways of looking at it, and you don't grab certain things, but as you see it a little bit more and you start to understand what he says, it gets stronger and stronger. Meaning, very important thing about Godard. Godard is an intellectual. Godard has read everything. He was studying anthropology before to become a writer in the Cahiers du Cinéma. Extremely intellectual. He knows poetry by heart. He has been reading all the great writers. So he has a vision of everything else. Very active politically. A lot of statement about society, about France at the time. On this movie, a lot of statement about marriage. You're going to see what's relationship. You're going to have nature, you're going to have island, you're going to have the image of the producer. So you have a lot of different things. And of course, Eros, with the body of Brigitte Bardot on the top of everything. So we are in 1963. Today, most of the movie do not touch to all this. And even if it touches to everything as possibility. Creativity, love. So you're going to see a lot of things. And this is good to talk about it after the film to clarify it a little bit. This is what I wanted to show you. This is how a close-up of Brigitte Bardot is in the film. And I will show you after the film a lot of frame of like how do we frame a film. But we're going to start, and I hope you enjoy. Anyone, whoever watched this before? All right, so if you didn't watch this before, you're going to have like a shock because it's such an unbelievable thing of 1963. He re-questioned everything about cinema. And one thing is for sure, it's extremely beautiful. Capri, I don't know if you know Capri, like the sound, it's absolutely gorgeous. And he has this kind of strong blues. Of course, he has like the beautiful Brigitte Bardot. And you have at the same time all the stories of relationship and the struggle and the re-question, everything in a package. So spend a couple of hours just to look at this, who is like, what people say. I'm not the one who said it. It's a masterpiece of the 20th century cinema. And it changed the world because this film is known as a film who changed the world of cinema. So again, thank you very much, and you're gonna watch it.